Welcome back to my workshop. Now you join me on a momentous day. I spend a lot of time thinking about my projects, and some of them I think about for a very, very long time because it's easy to think about them to actually do them. And this is one of those projects. It's one I've been thinking about for absolutely years. But there comes a time when you've actually got to stop thinking about it and actually do it. So what I'm going to be building in this video, and it's probably going to take several videos to do it, is what I'm going to call the big green ice cream machine. Now this is going to be an old-fashioned style ice cream machine. So we start off with an ice cream mixture, and we're going to freeze that. Instead of using electricity, we're going to use a combination of ice and salt. Don't know if it works, but it worked for the old timers, so it's probably going to work for us. There needs to be a beater that goes around inside the ice cream, and again we're not going to use an electric motor for that, but we'll come up with some other method. There's a few methods that I'm thinking about. Might be a horse, might be a person on a bicycle, could even be a windmill. Who knows? Maybe we could do all of them. Now that really would be fun. In principle, with the design I've got, everything is possible. It's the middle of August 2017. I think this is one of these projects that we're going to measure in a time scale of months, and if not, it's probably going to be more likely years. So don't expect a quick fix. You're probably going to have to keep coming back to find out how we're getting on. But without any further ado, let's cut the first piece of wood. So it's time to start our first piece of construction, and we're going to start with the ice bucket. This is pretty much the central point of the ice cream machine. So I've milled lots of wood, and the wood I'm using is Western red cedar. So I shall start by making the base. Effectively what we're going to be doing is making a very big wooden bucket. Now luckily Western red cedar, it's what they use for hot tubs, it's what I've used for hot tubs before. It's pretty much a waterproof wood, although I will be treating this with some probably varnish, I imagine, some polyurethane varnish. So I'm just going to quickly glue this up. Now you'll notice that I've covered the sash cramps with paper. This is because Western red cedar, it reacts to iron or steel. So if we screw anything into this, we've got to make sure we use stainless steel fixings. But in view of the amount of salt that's going to be kicking around in this thing, that's probably not a bad thing anyway. So slowly we apply some pressure. Now, just to make sure it all fits, yeah, we can do this. So we'll tighten this up and leave it overnight. And then by the time that's set, when we come back tomorrow, that is going to be absolutely lovely. Here we have the base for what we'll call, for the want of a better term, our bucket. 52 centimetres across. I've then cut 24 staves, which are going to fit on there like that. As you can see, I've cut out a groove, a mortise, what do you want to call it, 10mm deep, and that's going to fit nice and tightly on there. I'm not going to force it on there just yet because we'll do it properly in a minute. If I've got 10mm that side and 10mm that side, then the gap across there should be 500mm. So therefore the radius of our circle is 250 mil from the centre to there. Now this is where we can start using clever mathematics. Think back to what you learnt at school. Last time I did this I told the formula wrong, but I got the answer right. Everybody couldn't wait to send me emails telling me I've got it wrong. So this time I shall get it right. What you need to do is to think back to when you were at school and you learnt that well-known formula of pi. And so in order to work out the circumference, and that's the circumference of a circle, you times the radius, which in this case is 250 millimeters, by 2 pi r. Now you can sit down and work it out with a calculator, or you can go online and there's some really clever calculators that will do it for you. So having worked it out already, the circumference is 1,570 millimeters. Now I've got 24 of these cut, which means each one of these needs to be 65 millimeters wide. So I know 360 degrees is a circle. I've got 24 staves. With a process of mathematics I can work out that between each stave I need an angle of 15 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these through my table saw at an angle of 7.5 degrees on either side. I want to end up with the bit here 65 millimeters wide. Well, this is where we find out whether our mathematics is correct. Well, it's taken all day to get there, but we have ourselves a fairly decent, what should we call it, a wooden bucket. I think if I was to put some water in that now, that would probably hold water. If I say so myself, those are fairly good joints. Well, here we go, that's the last bit done, and I put these 3 steel bands on. Now because I've used cedar wood, that reacts with mild steel, so in this case I've had to use stainless steel, and I put them on by putting a band all the way around and just welding a little bit of angle iron here and some bolts through, and that holds it quite nicely and makes it nice and solid. Obviously I still need to finish it with some form of varnish or epoxy resin or whatever it is I decide I'm going to use. I'm going to look for a really tough finish because inside this is going to be lots of ice, salt. It's a pretty corrosive, nasty mixture, so it needs to be something that can cope with all of that. Obviously I need to trim up the top, make that nice and flat, nice and smart, but for all intents and purposes that's the structure of that bit done. That's the easy bit. The next bit is going to have to be the bit that goes across the top with a paddle that goes down that turns round and round and round. I've been having a little look to see how I'm going to do it, and I must admit that's going to beat me, I think. But if you don't ever go at these things, you'll never know how to do it. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and that way you'll get to find out when the next video is posted. Remember, this is going to be a long-term project. It's not something that's going to happen in the next 20 minutes. You are going to have to work with me on this one. But when it's finished, think of the sense of achievement we will both have when it's done. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.